All right, today is Monday, November 1st. Game plan for today, we got a warm up, we'll go through notes. You have a check-in on Wednesday. Go ahead and pause the video and fill in the blank for each of these statements. Then when you're done, you can unpause and see if we agree. All right, so from last Friday, y equals mx plus b is the equation of a line or a linear function, where m is the slope, b is our y-intercept, xy stands for a point, any other point on the line. All right, m equals y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. This is our slope. Given 2 points, x1, y1, and x2, y2. So 2 separate points. All right, that was from last week. Today, we're going to talk about something specific. So I want to show you something kind of based off of finding the slope. So you don't have to write this down yet. Let's say a line contains point x1 and y1 and point xy, where that represents any point on the line. So if I was asked to find slope of the line that goes through those 2 points, we do our slope formula, y2 minus y1, so y minus y1, all divided by x minus x1. Okay, that's my slope. Now, if I was trying to get y minus y1 by itself, once again, don't have to write this down, just trying to show you where this form is coming from, I would multiply x minus x1 on both sides to get that alone. Here's the algebra coming. So then I have y minus y1 all by itself over here on the right. I'm going to rewrite it so it's on the left now, which is equal to m times x minus x1. This equation right here, this is point slope form, and it comes directly out of using our slope and 2 points that are given to us. So here are your notes for today. Go ahead and set up your notebook, pause the video. Our learning targets, I can graph a line using point slope form. I can write a linear equation in point slope form. Point slope form, y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1, where m, once again, is our slope. And we have x1, y1, which is a specific point on our graph, specific point x1, y1, and x, y are our variables, our changing values. They're any other point on the line. All right, pause the video if you need to get that written down, and then we'll move on to some examples. Example 1, find the equation of the line that contains 2, -1, and has a slope of 1, 4. Here's my point slope form. When we are given the slope and a point, this makes it nice and easy to write an equation. So my y minus is going to stay the same, equals something times x minus something. So I'm just filling in the blank here for what is my y1, what is my slope, what is my x1. Well, my slope, they told us, is 1/4, so that will go right here. My x1, y1, so here's my x1, which is 2, so it's going to be x minus 2. And then I've got my y1, which is -1, so 1 minus -1. I can clean this up now, so you see where I have y minus y1, I have a double negative there. So I'll rewrite it. So I have y plus 1 equals my slope 1/4 times x minus 2. This is my equation written in point slope form. You'll notice that the symbols in front of my y and x value, they look opposite of how they show up as the ordered pair. So you'll see I have a +2 right here. Well, it looks like I've got a -2, whereas I've got a -1 and it looks like a +1. And the reason for that is because of these subtraction symbols, that it's going to be the difference, the opposite of what it appears to be. So watch out for that when you are writing your equations. Example number 2, find the equation of the line that contains 1, -4, and 3, 2. Once again, we're going to be writing this in point slope form. where I need to decide which point I'm gonna use. It doesn't matter if I use 0.1 or 0.2, the 1, -4, or the 3, 2. In either case though, I do need to figure out what is my slope. So we're gonna use our slope formula, same as last week. y2 minus y1, so I have 2 minus -4, all divided by 3 minus 1. Simplify that, 2 minus -4, well, that's the same thing as 2 plus 4. So I get 6 over 3 minus 1 is 2. Simplify that, my slope is 3. All right, so I got y minus y1 equals 3 times x minus x1. I need to pick one of these points. I'm going to pick this first point. You can pick the second point. It doesn't matter which one you choose. Either equation will represent the same thing as long as we have a slope and one of these 2 points. So for this one, I've got y minus y1. Here's x1, here's y1. I'm subtracting a -4 equals my slope 3 times x minus 1. Clean that up a little bit. Y plus 4 equals 3 times x minus 1. There you go. Example number 3. This one's a little bit different. So you can go ahead and find your slope right now and see what you can do with that. Pause the video, go through it on your own. This one is different because hopefully you already noticed our slope is different. Our slope is not a typical slope here, and we'll take a look at that. So y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. That's our point slope form. You're going to see that 20 more times today. So y2 minus y1. So I've got 6 minus 1 over 1 minus 1. Well, 6 minus 1 is 5. 1 minus 1 is 0. This is where we get in trouble. Because I have 0 in the denominator, my slope is then undefined. We cannot divide by a 0. I cannot have 0 in the bottom of a fraction. We call this undefined. It'll show up as an error in your calculator if you try to type it in. So then the question is, how do I write an equation if I have an undefined slope? It looks different than any of our other equations. So imagine if I have this graph right here, and I've got point 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have these 2 points of 1, 1 and 1, 6. The line goes through those 2 points. So this is what the graph is going to look like. When you have a vertical line like this with an undefined slope, the way you write the equation, notice that all that is changing here are my x values. The only thing that's staying consistent are my x values. My y values are constantly changing up and down anywhere it goes, but this one constant is no matter what point I pick, my x value is going to be the same. In this case, my x value is going to be 1. No matter where I pick on that line, the x value is 1. So the equation for a vertical line looks like this. X equals, and then what are your x values? What are you going through? In this case, it's x equals 1. So this would be how I write the equation for an undefined graph. Versus if it was a horizontal graph, so let's say I had a graph like this, horizontal, well, that's a slope of 0. So when you have a slope of 0, it's y equals instead of x equals. So in this case, it'd be y equals 1. But that's if I had a horizontal graph versus a vertical graph. There to that. All right, here you go. Example 4. Describe this line and then graph it. So looking at this line, what information can I pull out of here? Written in point slope form, so I should be able to tell a point, and I should be able to identify slope. Well, slope we can see right away is just right here. It's the number in front of the parentheses. So my slope is 3. Point, well, remember this would be y minus y1, and this is x minus x1. So just double check that your signs are going to be the same, that we need to see that subtraction sign. So my point is actually what's right in front of the subtraction sign. So my point is going to be, here's my y value, here's my x value, both the same in this case. So I've got 1, 1 for the point that I can make out of this. So to sketch a quick graph of this, go ahead and set up your t in your notes. And I need to have 0.11 show up on there. I'm going to put, let's go like 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Knowing I can always add more if I need to later. All right, so let's start with my 0.11. There we go. And from there, I'm gonna just use that point to walk over my slope. So my slope, rise over run, 3/1. Whenever you just have a number as a slope, remember you can write it as over 1. So I'm gonna go up 3 points from here. So up 1, 2, 3, and then from there over 1. So my next point on this graph right here is gonna be at the point 2, 4. Now this is when you take your straight edge and you can go ahead and you really just need 2 points. You can always get a few more if you want to get a really nice clean looking graph, but as long as you're using a straight edge, you should be good. That'll keep going in your pattern of up 3/1 or down 3/1. So here's my outline. Let's try straightening that out a little bit. Down 3/1. There. Those are both points. And we use a straight edge, otherwise your graph looks like mine. There you go. All right. There and okay. All right, there you go. Down 3, 1, 2, 3/1. So it should be. All right, next one. Let's take a look at another example. Describe this line and then graph it. Y plus 2 equals -1/2 times x minus 3. Same idea as before. Whenever something's written in point slope form, we can take out of it a point, and we can take the slope. My slope is right in front of the parentheses, -1/2. My point, y minus y1, and x minus x1. So here, for my point, you'll notice that I have a 3 in front of the negative, so my x value is going to be okay. I've got my 3, but my y value, I've got a positive in front of it. So how would I be rewriting this so it's a negative instead of a positive? This is when we have our y minus -2. So even though we've got a positive right there, the point is actually opposite of what it looks like. So my point for this graph would be 3, -2. Same thing as before, grab your T or your plus sign, however you want to call it. And let's go ahead and put about 6 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. When you're creating your own graphs in your notebooks, the more evenly you have these little hashes spaced out, the more accurate your graph is going to be. So just be aware of that. So if I graph a point 3, -2, right here, I'm going, well, it's a -1/2, so I should have a negative slope. So I have to choose, am I going to go -1 over +2 or +1 over -2? Either way, you're going to get the same answer. I'll do an example of both. So let's say I go down 1, and then I go to the right 2. 1, 2. That would be my next point. If I was going down 1 to the right 2, versus if I went +1 over -2, I would go up 1 to the left 2. So now I have 3 points right there to connect my graph. You could keep going and getting a nice pattern there. So I could keep going up 1 over 2, up 1 over 2, up 1 over 2, to get a really nice clean graph between those lines. So then when I do actually go through and graph my line here, there you go. You can see the pattern. It's going to keep on going. That's how I'll graph a line from point slope form. All right, that's it for today. Your homework is on Delta Math. Please make sure that you are showing your work just like we did here of identifying the slope and the points. And then also for anytime you need to find slope, make sure that you are actually showing your work right here as you find your slope. Unit 5B, day 2 is your homework assignment for today.